Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jacob here. Um, it's been a while since I've done um, a YouTube video with what's been going on and just how it's um, been affecting me and everything. But I wanted to come on here and I wanted to make a video and give you guys an update on me, how I'm doing. Um, uh, give you guys inside scoop on anything that might be new in my life. First of all, actually, I want to start out by apologizing, not for, in part, for having it be a while since I've done a YouTube video, but also because I actually uploaded this a few weeks ago, and shortly after I uploaded it, I noticed that there was no sound, which shocked me because when I listened to it, um, when I thought there was a sound, there was none. So I think it might have been that I had my headset in the computer, even though it wasn't in my um, ears. So we'll try this, and hopefully it'll work. Um, um, and so um, in this video, I'm going to be talking about what's been going on with me the last um, couple months since I last made a video on here. Um, for the most part, nothing much has changed. I mean, um, I'm still working at my restaurant. Well, not my restaurant, but the restaurant job that I work at, Old Spaghetti Factory. Um, I guess the only difference in that regard is that the last time I made a YouTube video, I actually was juggling that job and a church job. And since being on here, I have been let go from that church job due to with what's going on, just budget cutting, and the team that I was a part of was, as far as I know, affected the most. Um, so um, right now, I'm just still working the restaurant job, and so as far as that goes, that's definitely been um, there's a little bit of change, but it's not um, a change that I'm necessarily worried about. Now, if I had no job, then that would definitely be something to worry about. But I have a job, and so I'm fine there. Uh, Something else that's been happening, um, and I don't think I've shared this in past videos. If I have, then you'll have to um, forgive me in advance. But um, if I had to describe this season of life in a phrase, it would be emotional roller coaster. This has been a time where not just me, but even people that I know, whether I work with them or if I know them from church or however else I may or may not know my friends, um, uh, and even family. I've been noticing, especially even on social media too. I've been noticing a lot of. Um, I've been seeing a lot of mental havoc being wrought, and I'm actually going to make a video um, after this one where I actually go into more depth on that because that's actually been something that has been on my mind um, pretty much since everything else alongside the coronavirus started happening um, with the racism being on the rise and with politics. Um, I'm not going to get into that now because this video is just strictly an update on my life, but in the next video, I'll actually tackle that and go more in depth with it. Um, um, but yeah, and for me specifically, there's been a lot of um, one of the things that I've been realizing that I needed and still need to work on is that um, we all have our um, um, I guess our go-to negative emotion. Um, and for me, that emotion as of late has been um, I've been realizing that I struggle with anger. And I remember I was with at the time that the first round of the quarantine was somewhat starting. I was seeing um, uh, somebody that I actually um, used to work with, and um, I'm not going to go into details of it, but basically, in my time with her, um, which had its pros, there were a couple of um, there were a couple of things that were challenging. One of them being what I believe being a God moment, where God used her to speak truth over me, and she's somebody who um, uh, is somebody who sort of wrestles with her belief and her faith, and I have that too. But I'm more um, I'm trying to give my questions and doubts their place while not having them rule and reign over my life, which is hard. Um, but it was through our time together, and specifically that moment, where I realized that somehow, however this originated, I have an anger problem and I need to deal with it. And that was where I discovered um, I wanted to know more about it, and so I read a couple of books, and I'm actually pulling them up on my phone right now because I wanted to share a couple of these um, highlights from the book with you. And I feel like in reading these, it's still a struggle for me, but at the same time, it's something that I am. It's something that is. Um, it's still a struggle, but it's one that I am doing my best to be more conscious of. Um, Not just the feeling of it, like what happens to me when I start to feel the emotion coming in, but then like what to do about it. And there are these two books that I read, and if you're somebody who's watching this who struggles with anger, I would highly recommend you get your hands on these. One is from a biblical perspective. If you're a fan of the five love languages, the same author of that book, Gary Chapman, wrote a book called Anger Taming a Powerful Emotion. And I'll just share with you one um, one quote from this one, and I'll show you one uh, lesson I learned from the book, and then I'll show you one from the psychological book. But in Gary's book, one of the things that he explores is the dichotomy between good or definitive anger versus bad or distorted anger, and what happens when um, like what it is and what it can do and how to recognize it. Um, and it says good definitive anger is anger toward any kind of genuine wrongdoing, mistreatment, injustice, breaking of laws, sparked by violation of laws or moral code. You can recognize it if you can answer yes to the following questions: was a wrong committed, and do I have all the facts? And then I can either confront the person or decide to overlook the offense. And then it basically will go on to explain the opposite of what happens when there's like what the definition of distorted bad anger is and how to recognize it and stuff like that. Um, and so that was that book. And then the other book It's from the psychological perspective from Dr. Christian Conti, called Walking Through Anger. And I was actually surprised to find parallels with these two. Like, I read the psychology book first, and then I read Gary's book. And when I was reading Gary's book, I saw all these parallels. I'm like, whoa, okay. They, that there's more closeness to this issue from both the biblical and the psychological perspective than I thought, which was pretty cool. So the one idea from the psychology perspective book that I want to share with you all is the concept of yield theory. That is, it's made up of three core actions: listening, validating, and exploring options. So you'll listen to somebody explain their plight to you, and then regardless of whether you agree or disagree with that, you validate them in the sense of you hear them, you listen to them, and you can tell that they're upset about something, or at someone, and you're not seeing them bullshitting you or whatever. Like, they definitely are meaning what they're saying, and they feel it genuinely, and you can get that sense. And then the important one of exploring options with them, where you play out different scenarios with them of, okay, well, what would happen? What would the result be if you chose to give in to this emotion and you were to believe that this was distorted, even if it's not? Or vice versa, what would happen if you decided to, what the scriptures teach as turning the other cheek? Um, you know, are you willing to be controlled by the anger, or are you going to control the anger, basically? And I'll actually get more into this as well in the next video, because I feel like there's a tie between this emotion and with what we're seeing right now involving politics and racism. So I'll get into more of that in the next video. But that's just some of the things, some books that I've been reading when it comes to that emotion. And actually, speaking of books, there's actually two that I want to show you, and I actually might do a separate video where I show you some excerpts from it. But the first one is Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. It's so awesome. This is actually one of the genres of books that I'm a fan of. It's self-help books. And then I just finished Jim Carrey's Memoirs and Misinformation. Very, very cool. And then I just started I Am Zion by John Eckhart. And I literally just read the intro like 2 days ago, and just the intro alone has a lot of nuggets of truth and wisdom in here. And it's just the intro. Like, it's it's probably the longest intro to a book I've ever read, which is pretty cool. So and the only other thing that is up for sharing for an update on my life is that I am about to start a new chapter in my life. And this is one that I knew I was going to step into. I just wasn't sure when. But over the last, not just a few months, but even just, a little over a year, so even before the virus hit and everything, I've gotten the sense that I have been gifted a very rare opportunity to go back to school and to have help in being able to afford it. And the downside is that like there are classes that I want to take that I'm passionate about. Um, and some of those classes are biblical and religious studies, philosophy, psychology, sociology. Um, Problem is that those are credit classes, and when I've tried to apply for them, they said that I needed to do prerequisites and/or placement tests, which I'm still trying to figure out how to do them, when to do them. I'm actually still waiting to hear back from my academic advisor that I um, set up an appointment and still waiting to hear back from them on that. And so I wasn't really sure if I wanted to start, and also keeping in mind that um, uh, I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure if I had to take as many prerequisites as I can handle, as well as even with the people that are going to be helping me, what they can afford. Um, and the last thing that I want to do is break them financially, especially with what's going on. Like I want to make sure that they're going to be okay and everything. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to take a class and have that class be prereq or not. And so I got the suggestion to ease my way into it, to instead of taking like 5 or 6, take like one. Um, if you can handle 2, depending on the class, then yeah, you can take 2, but I'd recommend 1. So I have decided to take um, a personal development class called Improved Self-Talk. And I'm very, very excited for that class. I think there's going to maybe be a little bit of linkage between that class and maybe one of the classes that actually I am passionate about taking. So we'll see where that goes. Um, and I actually did hope to get into the college of my church, where back when I did a video talking about the internship version, which I did, and they're in their second year doing the college, and I before they told me to wait a year, I was already waiting a year because I told myself, even after I heard the announcement that they were turning it into a college, I was like, you just did the internship. Like, take a year, reflect on what this has been for you. Um, and then I still wanted to go. I still wanted to learn, and then applied, and they didn't necessarily um, accept me, but they didn't reject me either. It was more of like, I will wait another year. And in my mind, I'm like, I just waited another year, and I already know that this is what I'm passionate about it, and what I want to study. Like, there's not a whole lot of anything else other than what I've mentioned. Um, and so there are times where it's tough to see it as rejection, but who knows? God may have that be something that I do, and it's just later down the line, or He might have something better. I don't know, um, but yeah, and I talked with another family member of mine, and she strongly recommended that one of the things you would have to do anyway is prereq. So why don't you look into that? And so yeah, so what I'm going to do is, effective January, I'm going to take the improved self-talk class, and then once that term is nearing the end, if I feel like I can add something else, then I might consider adding a prereq class to that. And yeah, so that's what's new with me. I think what I'm going to do to close this video out is something else that has been that's an update on me, is I have picked up a new hobby. I have picked up the art of learning some card tricks. Um, based on what I know and what I can do in trying to show you is I am going to show you guys a trick that is very, 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 very cool. I'm going to need to take out a couple of cards really quick. Okay. All right. So, tell me when to stop. Stop. Okay. Okay. So, I stopped at the 2 of spades. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lose that 2 into the deck. So I'm going to make 3 piles, get it shuffled in there, and then I'm going to shuffle the cards quickly. Still trying to work on the shuffling. I'm not the best shuffler, but I have been improving some. Oh, that was bad. Okay, so let's find that 2 of spades. Okay. Alright, so got the 2 of spades right here. Now, I set off 4 cards to the side, and these 4 cards are going to help me find that 2 of spades. And those 4 cards happen to be the 4 jacks, right? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one of the jacks and put it in front of that 2 of spades, which is our card. I'm then going to put another card in between that, and then put a second jack in between that card. Then I'm going to put one of the rest of the halves of the deck in front of that jack so that it looks like this. All right. Then I'm going to take the third jack and put it behind that 2 of spades. Take a card from the second half, the second pile, put behind that, fourth jack, and then I'm going to take the rest of the second pile and put it behind there. And this is what we have. We've got 4 jacks in between 2 piles. Now this is where the trick gets interesting, all right? I'm going to take these jacks and I'm going to flip them so that they're on this side. All right, now watch closely. And then put 2 of spades. So yeah, I know way more than that. If you want me to actually do some videos where I'm actually showing you more of the tricks, you can comment that down below. But yeah, that's just a little bit of an update on me. Some of that is serious, some of it's fun. I hope you guys are doing well in this time. If you are wanting somebody to talk to, or even if you're looking for a new friend, you can comment your social media, or you can ask for mine. Um, I love to chat with you and to just um, help um, help us just continue to survive and thrive in this time. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this, and as always, thanks for watching.